Engaged at 22 to a 28 I said yes under pressure, but now I'm drowning. The wedding is for the parents, he claims, while I plan alone. After endless fights about exes and guest lists, I'm emotionally drained. Can I really walk away with the countdown ticking? I'm a 22-year-old female and he is a 28-year-old male. We met in August 2023 and quickly began dating. I even had the chance to meet his parents on our first date, which was kind of cute and funny. It was the best first date ever, swimming under a waterfall, enjoying coffee, going on an adventure, and ending the evening in his home sauna with ice cream. The date lasted around 8 hours. He expressed interest in being serious, and he was very respectful, so much so that I initially thought he might be gay because he hardly made any physical moves until I took the initiative. By Thanksgiving, which I hosted for my friends, he helped organize the event and we exchanged I love yous. The relationship appeared perfect. I opened up about everything from my past and he did the same. The only hitch was when he mentioned going out with friends and invited me, but during the car ride, he revealed we were actually meeting his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend, as well as another guy. This ex was his first girlfriend from when they were both 16, his first in everything, including intimacy. Let's call her Gabriella. I was not okay with this. Even though they were just friends, I found it strange, especially since I received no prior warning. Gabriella's boyfriend also seemed uncomfortable. I had a significant issue with it. Trust felt shattered. I considered ending the relationship. We talked it through and I decided to stay. We began discussing marriage. He brought up the topic along with having children and timelines. He did not want to wait. Then he went to visit his grandmother in Europe for more than a month over Christmas and New Year's. I stayed home but took a mini trip with friends closer to home. It was challenging being alone. I missed him. When he returned, his tone had altered. He no longer seemed eager to rush into marriage. I reached the same conclusion, but hearing it from him still stung. He seemed distant. I also disliked that he made the decision without discussing it with me. However, over time, things began to improve. In February, we attended an event where we encountered another one of his exes. She was very uncomfortably friendly, trying to dance with me and complimenting us frequently. Strangely, it provided some relief, but it also raised more issues for me regarding his past relationships. We were planning to travel that summer. I wanted to go to Europe, and he initially agreed but later retracted, stating he needed to spend time with his grandmother. He insisted he could not spend less than 3 weeks helping her in his village. He also had to be present for his friend's birthday, which he later realized was on the wrong date. Basically, he was set on his trip and would not change his mind. I made all the arrangements to try and accommodate, but still he said no. Eventually, we decided to go to his homeland for the entire month. He promised that next time we would travel to Europe. It worked out because my brother ended up getting married there as well. For the record, I paid for my own tickets and everything else. The compromise was to visit another city, quite far from his village for a while, but every day felt like a struggle just to make that happen. We went, and it was a lot of fun. However, we also fought quite a bit. During the trip, I discovered he was messaging nearly all his exes or still had contact with many of them, Gabriella and another girl he had casually hooked up with back home. He followed all his exes on social media, and they would like and comment on each other's posts. I hated it. It put me in a bad mood. He was also very irritable about anything I wanted. Basically, he counted down the days until he could be with his grandmother. It was tough. Whenever he was tired, he would get angry and treat me as if everything was my fault. He was planning to propose during the trip, but it never occurred. There were good moments. I tried to maintain a positive atmosphere, but I grew exhausted too. When we returned, his parents suggested we go camping across the country. We booked it. We had a major argument because I was fed up with his messaging other girls. Additionally, he would not text me first, would not invite me on dates, and would see me once a week or less. He did not seem to care. However, he had no hesitation going out to play video games with his buddy. I urged him to come back and discuss things with me, but he claimed it was not urgent and that he would see me the next day. That night, I told him I was breaking up with him. The following day, he showed up, apologizing and refusing to accept the breakup. He convinced me to go on the trip. The 2-day drive was absolute hell. He complained constantly about driving. It was horrible. There was constant arguing. We finally arrived. I wanted to end the relationship. I felt done. The trip seemed ruined, just another wasted opportunity. During the trip, he took me out on a date, showing me around, and then on the beach, he asked me to marry him. I am unsure why I said yes. We experienced bad times, really bad ones, as well as really good moments. We drove home the next day. The atmosphere was tense, but I did my best to appear excited and happy. He continued to complain about driving, just less than before. Initially, he did not even want to inform his parents that we were engaged, claiming they would become overly excited. I insisted we call them. I began telling my family and friends. His family treated me kindly, everyone appeared happy. For the next 2 months, things were relatively good, there was no fighting. Then his parents started getting heavily involved. His mother found a venue and began pushing hard for it. I was not fond of this, but we went to see it anyway. It was inexpensive but required a lot of work, which would cost as much as a nicer venue. He disagreed, resulting in an argument. From the beginning, all I ever wanted was to elope. He stated it was about making his parents happy, that was what the wedding was intended for. My parents were relaxed about it. His mother strongly opposed my plan for a 2-year engagement. She even persuaded my parents to back her in rushing the wedding. Each day began to feel like torment, and eventually I caved in. We agreed on a June wedding, although they wanted it in winter or May, which felt too rushed. I conducted all the research and found a venue that matched his outdoorsy vibe and budget. It was slightly over budget, but still incredibly inexpensive compared to the wedding market. Then began the fights over the guest list. We argued once more about his exes. He helped Gabriella's parents again, maintaining secret contact without informing me. I was completely fed up. He assured me there would be no more contact. He did not seem to understand why it was significant. He even joked that if it were not for me, Gabriella would have been his groomsgirl. We reconciled. However, he then decided his parents would have complete control over the guest list, literally not even giving me names or telling me who the people were, with no limit. I pleaded for a total of 50 guests to keep costs down, and because I do not like strangers, he refused. He wanted a large wedding. We agreed on 70 total guests, an even split. Then he broke that agreement, allowing his mother to invite 60 people from their side alone. Gradually, each time the guest list grew. He did not care about my preferences. I was always the villain. There was no compromise. I was doing all the planning. His mother began crossing boundaries, agreeing with a baker on our cake without our knowledge, buying me shoes and dresses she preferred, which were unattractive. Once I sent her pictures of wedding dresses I tried on, and she told me I looked like a middle-aged divorcee and should look for inexpensive dresses on Shein or AliExpress. I cried. He spoke to her, but it was not particularly effective. For context, I was paying for my dress. The only financial concerns they had were about things I wanted. The guest count had to include everyone they desired. It was little things, every few days traditions forced upon us. Whenever I disagreed, I became the antagonist. I asked him to confront her, but his stance was that the wedding was for the parents. Meanwhile, I was still in university, organizing the entire wedding, paying for at least half if not more, and receiving zero assistance-only criticism. This persisted for months. Every now and then, we quarreled about how he was ignoring me, not knowing anything about the wedding, and accusing me of demanding expensive items, even though I was managing DIY projects and keeping everything affordable. Then we argued again over when to have children. He wanted kids 1 year post-wedding. I desired to complete university my 5th year, gain a year of work experience and establish financial stability, not live in his parents' house. He stated he was the man and I was not his equal, thus he made the decisions and I had to respect them. He does not earn much money as he is self-employed and despises office jobs. I seek stability, I want to feel secure. We had a massive argument, his parents got involved. I got drunk and shared everything with them. How I was planning everything, paying for half, receiving no support while he went to play video games. I asserted he did not love me and that was okay, we could part ways. The next day he was first angry that I had said negative things about him. I don't take pride in that, but they were facts, not insults. Then he apologized and promised to change. For 3 weeks he treated me like an incredible boyfriend. He did not isolate me when I cried. He cared about the wedding. He informed me when he would be late. He displayed affection I had never witnessed before. But I felt emotionally dead. It hurt to see him finally do the things I had begged for months. Even now, he believes nothing has changed, that he has always been like this. But I find myself once again pleading for basic needs. I inquire about when he will begin constructing the house extension so we could have space. and I am met with groans as if I am a warden, not a partner. He continues to complain. It is a month before the wedding. I have cried every day for the last month. I feel miserable. I do not believe I love him anymore. Even in the good moments I feel numb, I resent him. Now even when he does kind things, I cannot appreciate them. I do not know what to do. So many people are invited. It is very embarrassing to walk away now. I attempted to talk to him about how I dislike living with his parents, about how negative and irritable they are, and how I do not even have space for my belongings in his room, but nothing changes. He is only kind when he realizes I may actually leave. I am scared I am lost. Please help me understand this situation. Story 2. I thought K and H were my closest friends, but after 10 months of gaming and bonding, they pushed me away. You're not invited, K declared before blocking me entirely. Why won't they give me closure? Did I really matter or was it all a facade? I am a 34-year-old male, K is a 26-year-old female, and H is a 24-year-old female. My question is what happened between K and H, and why won't K and H provide me with closure? To summarize, I had someone whom I believed was a really good friend. I subsequently became friends with her girlfriend as well. We were inseparable, and maintaining our friendship felt easy. However, after about 10 months of consistent communication and team games together, they gradually began to distance themselves from me. When I attempted to address the issues and explore whether we could rectify any problems in our relationship, the friend I initially connected with ended things and blocked and unfollowed me on all platforms. I want to clarify that I was not a perfect individual during this period, but aside from becoming upset with them and occasionally complaining about trivial matters, I did not engage in any significant wrongdoings. Whenever I misbehaved, I always made an effort to correct my actions. Our situation is far too intricate to thoroughly explain my reasons for thinking the things I'm about to share, but I ask for your understanding as I express these thoughts. I met Kay at work. We worked together for approximately 6 months before discovering we had several common interests. Prior to that, we did not communicate much. One shared interest was gaming, although she preferred shooter games, which I did not particularly enjoy. Initially, we began texting about cats, and one day she asked if I would be interested in playing a new game she found on the App Store with her, which marked the beginning of our gaming journey. From that moment on, for the next 6 months, we exchanged hundreds of texts each week, and being friends was incredibly easy. 3 months later, she moved to a nearby city and we no longer worked together. We began discussing an old game she used to play, which she had recently started playing again. I told her that if she wanted me to join her, I would love to play something with her, even if it was a shooter. She then began inviting me to play with her, and this is when I was introduced to her girlfriend, HH, and I immediately connected, and they invited me to their Discord server, followed me on Twitch, Steam, and other platforms. I work night shifts and they began hanging out on Discord, inviting me to chat and join them while they played. We played approximately 200 to 300 matches of around 45 minutes each together in March, and everything was fantastic. They were always excited to have me join them after my shifts and frequently asked if I would be playing with them. They invited me over to hang out and we watched movies and television shows together. I even fell asleep on their couch after we had been drinking. Because Kay tends to be anxious when I arrive, we decided not to go out as planned and just stayed in. The challenges began to surface after about 6 weeks of gaming together. I started requesting that they respect certain boundaries, such as do not call me by my work nickname anymore and do not yell at me during games over minor issues. They did not make any efforts to correct these behaviors or acknowledge that they bothered me. I also began to notice some peculiar behavior from Kay, which I will detail further in a note about Kay. Our texting frequency began to decline. I should clarify that she responded less and less, ceased sending lengthy responses relevant to my messages, and stopped initiating conversations as well. She quit the game she had invited me to play. At some point, which I cannot pinpoint, they ceased inviting me to play with them and started participating solely with their online friends. This led to my frustration, and I expressed my feelings, stating that I felt excluded. They denied any intent to exclude me but continued their previous behavior. They created artificial obstacles to us spending time together, and when I removed these barriers before realizing they had been intentionally placed, they simply erected new ones. As our birthdays approached, all of us celebrate in May, and I wanted to drop off their birthday gifts. I informed them that I would come by for a discussion, believing it would be beneficial for us to address our issues. They responded by saying we needed to discuss nothing and that I was not welcome. I decided to express that their recent actions were troubling me. We forged our friendship because Kay was always kind to me. She made me feel seen and valued, but that was no longer the case. I expressed that I felt we were no longer friends and that our relationship had turned into a source of frustration. At that moment, Kay began accusing me of actions she herself had committed, some of which did not even bother me, and labeled me the bad friend. I insisted that we needed to communicate and I would find time to visit in May. I stated that at the very least, if we could not find a way to mend our relationship, I would still like to say goodbye in person. She responded by saying she would block me on everything and that she never wanted to see or hear from me again. A note about Kay. Throughout our acquaintance, she would often mimic my actions, behaving in a way that felt inauthentic, as if she agreed with everything I liked or modifying my personal stories to make them her own. Initially, I did not recognize this and thought we simply had similar personalities. However, as we started spending more time together, especially when she began echoing my most unique stories back to me, I became aware of this pattern. She also had a tendency to accuse me of behaviors that mirrored her own, which I overlooked at first. She would accuse me of things that left me completely bewildered as they made no sense. Eventually, I realized that she was projecting her own actions onto me. I am autistic, and she indicated to me that she believed she might be autistic as well. In hindsight, I suspect she was attempting to portray herself as autistic for my sake.